Hey everyone, I'm Steve. Welcome to Maximum Guitar Works.
Care.
Today what we've got for you is a Maximum Guitar Works guitar called Elena, and I am going to go through and explain to you what Elena is and all the pieces and parts and thoughts that went behind making Elena. And then I've got my good friend Chris here today. Hello, Chris.
Hello.
And he's going to actually play it and demonstrate hopefully all the different sounds that we have, which is a lot in this guitar. But let's just start by going over some of the features of this guitar. This guitar is, as you can see it, it's kind of your S-type of guitar in the sense of the body. But we've got a reverse headstock on this guy. Now, some people will talk about they like that because you get extra string length out of your low E, and therefore you've got higher tension on that, and there's slightly a different tonal property within that with a reverse headstock. But I just thought on this guitar it looked pretty cool to kind of incorporate that design. It just with the body, the way it's shaped, it seemed to work really well. So I went with that. And as you can see, the headstock is matched to the body. This is swamp ash. In both areas, capped with swamp ash here, but the neck itself is maple. All right, and this is basically your hard rock maple. And what you'll see in some photos that I'm going to insert into here is that we used basically a double layer of purple veneer inside that on the front and the back with maple in between those to create kind of a little artistic look to the headstock itself from the side. You'll also notice the tuners. These are the open locking tuners from Hipshot. I think they are super cool, especially in the black where that with that brass gear is such, so visible right there. I think that looks pretty cool.
Yes.
Yeah. And then like all of my guitars, I really prefer to incorporate the volute. So you'll see a pretty pronounced volute right there. A volute is basically two purposes. The main purpose is for strength. So what you'll notice about my headstocks is there is no truss rod adjustment in the headstock itself, and there's extra meat on the back in the volute area. So basically what you're looking at is about as strongest joint as you're going to get, especially when you consider this is almost plywood with all the veneer layers in there. And plus I find it pretty comfortable, kind of a nice position to cradle your hand as you're working up in the first position up there. So I really like the feel of it too. We have a tusk nut. That's a synthetic material that is slippier than bone and very durable. And so we've got that in the nut area there. We've got a rosewood fretboard. And within that rosewood fretboard we have aluminum dot markers at all the main frets, a double dot marker over there at the 12th fret, kind of a little different design, huh? Mm-hmm. The side dots are also aluminum, kind of tying that into the theme here. And I should also mention that these frets on here are stainless steel. So what does that mean? Well, to me what it means is it takes me about 3 times as long to do a fret job.
Yeah.
And you'll never have to get these replaced or leveled, recrowned or anything like that because I'll tell you what, they hold up to just about anything. Very, very tough. Working at the heel of the neck, one thing that you'll notice is the custom lasered neck plate right there. The neck plate will have the name on it, Elena, the Maximum Guitar Works logo, Golden, Colorado, USA, where it was created, and then the serial number to the guitar right on there. All right, now getting down to the meat of the guitar. What you've got is, we've got Jason Lollar Strat type pickups right here. Three single coil pickups. These have the staggered poles to them. So basically the poles are set up to make the sound much more even across the strings with that configuration. To go with the Hipshot tuners that we have on this guitar, we do have a Hipshot Contour US Trem. Okay, excellent tremolo, very stable, easy to adjust for intonation. So this thing is right on the money. 2-point pivot right there. Looking at the pickguard itself, what we've got is an aluminum pickguard. Now, I did the aluminum to kind of match the fret dot markers that we did, but I did decide to seal the top of this pickguard because I found out that the raw material was kind of just picking up fingerprints pretty rapidly. So I put a sealer on there, and that clear sealer has a slight iridescent property to it. So in different lighting, you can actually see the slight little iridescence. So I thought that was kind of a cool touch. And then we've got your standard volume knob here and your 5-way pickup. But what happens is we don't have just 5 voices out of this guitar. We've got 10 different voices because in the volume pot, we have a push-pull installed. And then when that push-pull is in the up position, we get 5 more distinct voices out of Elena. So if we're in the number 1 position, the bridge position, basically in the up position of our push-pull pot, we have all 3 single coils wired in parallel going on simultaneously. In the next position up, position 2, we have the bridge and the middle pickup wired in series. So this creates more of a humbucker type of a sound. In the middle position, we've got the 2 pickups, bridge and middle, wired in series, and then the neck pickup added to it in parallel. So 3 pickups, but a little different sound with the 2 in series. So like a humbucker single is what that's going to be like. In the 4th position, we've got the neck and the middle position wired in series. So again, that becomes a pseudo neck humbucker type of sound in there. And the final position is the one that a lot of people like, but you don't get on the standard Strat wiring, and that's the outer 2. Okay, so the outer 2 pickups. So with the addition of that push-pull and basically the 5-way super switch, we have got ourselves 10 different voices within this guitar. It can get a little confusing.
Yeah, well, it should be enough, though, at least.
Yeah. So I like tonal control. So in the middle position, instead of just having a tone knob where I roll off the highs, I've actually got a Fender TBX double pot in here. And what that does is there's a center detent, and from the center detent, if I roll forward, it adds treble, kind of pulls off the low frequencies, and then if from the center detent backwards, okay, counterclockwise, it pulls off the high frequencies, making it a little bit more bassier out of the tone. So I really found that tonal control, especially with the 10 different voices, I can dial in exactly what I need to make what each and every voice I want to be, sound good to my ears. So that's what we've got there, a Fender TBX tone control. Now the switch at the bottom here happens to be an onboard boost circuit. Now it's a JFET style circuitry, if for those who are familiar with different types of circuit. And what it does is it adds an amazing amount of boost to this guitar and adds another element of creativity to the guitar. So basically we have on and off, and when it's plugged in, that'll have an LED that lights up, right there with the on and off switch. And then when it's on, if the gain knob is all the way counterclockwise, then basically the sound will be cut off. It's very similar to like your Les Pauls that you play and have the 2 volume knobs. If you're in the center position and one of those volume knobs is in the off position, you're not getting any sound. Right. So it kind of works like that in a sense. If you consider this as 2 different volume knobs when the boost is on that you have to manipulate in order to get the blend that you want out of the boost versus the volume. And what you'll find is when we demo this, is if I turn this on and crack it ever so slightly, this boost is kind of a dirty boost in a sense that adds a level of distortion to a clean amp, and what I would call kind of a brown type amp model distortion, you know, kind of like that Fenderish type sound. And I really like the tone of it. In fact, I find it very similar to one of my favorite distortion pedals that I use. So that's kind of cool there. Now, as you crank this all the way up, it will get deafening loud for sure. Or you can back off the volume, and if you back off the volume all the way till it's just barely cracked on, you're going to get a very clean boost. And then you can begin blending the two together, where you can increase the gain by going up in volume, and you can kind of take back the volume by rolling back the boost knob in there, and then create a blend of whatever sound that you want. So that's kind of the biggest factor in here. So that was a pretty long explanation.
It was.
But I put a lot of time and energy and effort into designing something that was very unique electronically, with the 5 voices and the boost control right there. So when you hear it, hopefully you'll appreciate all the different features that it has. Looking on the back side, like I said earlier, this is a one-piece piece of swamp ash. Very nice weight. This is about 8.35s. In fact, this is exactly 8.35 pounds, fully configured, ready to go. So very comfortable weight for all the features that we've got in here. We've got a tremolo cover that is recessed into it and held on magnetically. Now, I kind of went overkill on the magnets on this one to make sure it never came off accidentally. So it takes a good amount of pressure, and always make sure you're using your other hand to hold this side, because
go flying off.
Yeah, I've flipped them across the room before, and and that's not obviously ideal. So that's how that's held onto place. So if you can look at that real close. We've got the standard configuration for tremolo block in there. And again, access for restringing, really easy. No screws required. And then when you're done, you just put that back on top, and it's sealed and ready to play.
Neat.
Yeah. And then we've also added a external battery box. To be honest, I originally had designed it to go under the pick guard, because I didn't mention this before, but the pick guard at this point in time on this prototype model is secured magnetically to this. I'm not sure if that's what I'm going to do when I do these in production, but for now that's what it has. So I did not want this pick guard to have to be removed in order to get to the battery, so I basically put an external compartment in there, and you can just use your pick and you can open that up, get to the battery, and replace it as you need to. The cool thing about the LED light, though, is it almost acts as a battery indicator. You'll see that light starting to get dim as the battery starts fading. Now, the other property is the less voltage. Right now at 9 volts, this boost control is pretty typical of what it's going to be, but if it loses voltage, it will actually get more distortion to it. So you'll kind of feel, if I could have added 18 volts to this guy, and if I did that, it would have given it more clean headroom. So we could configure this either way. But that's how that works right there. So I think I covered everything. Did I miss anything?
I don't think so, unless you want to talk about your...
Oh, yeah. Okay, so we can talk about that. The truss rod adjustment is at the heel of the neck in this particular guitar. And again, I mentioned it with the headstock that I don't like truss rod adjustments in the headstock, because it just removes meat from the weakest point, basically, of that neck. And this keeps it as solid as possible. But also the benefit to the truss rod, the spoke wheel style truss rod adjustment down here, as opposed to up there, you really have to loosen up your strings to be able to get to it. Here, there's enough give in the strings where you could just put that truss rod adjustment tool right into that spoke wheel, and you can turn it and have plenty of room to turn it to make minor adjustments if you ever need to. Now, what I didn't mention about this neck, and that just kind of reminded me of adjustments, is there's probably very little chance that this neck needs much, if any, adjustment in the future, because this maple, hard rock maple neck is reinforced with titanium bars in there, basically 1/8 by 1/4 inch tall titanium bars running on either side of that truss rod. So the stiffness that provides this neck is pretty unbelievable. And still retains a lightweight. And some people say that titanium has a kind of the rosewood of metals, so to speak, a very toneful type of metal. So I figured that would be a good thing. I also use carbon fiber in some of the designs, but this one just happens to have that. And the last thing that I didn't mention is the flush-mounted strap locks. I don't know if you noticed that. But basically, you won't see any buttons sticking out of the side of this thing. And also the electro socket jack is flush mounted right there. So again, pretty clean appearance on the outside. But if you do need to use a strap, it's basically this a Dunlop strap lock version. And it just inserts directly in and strap locks, you know, like it would normally. But if you're not using a strap, then it keeps a nice cleaner appearance.
Nice.
Yeah. I believe that is enough of explaining all the features, and it's time to actually start listening to the guitar. So you all set there?
Yeah, let's try it.
All right, let's hand it over to Chris, and let's get this baby going. Since this is Chris's basically first time seeing this guitar, and it's got pretty complex switching going on here, I may be helping him a little bit, and you know, don't be afraid to ask me if you're trying to figure out what configuration you're looking for. But that's basically it. Here's what I talked about before. Now it's plugged in. There's boost light on and off. Or let's hear how she plays.
All right, I guess the easiest thing would just do the typical configuration, because that I can remember.
Okay. So we're using Chris's pedal board, and I'll take a picture of it and post it so you can see what's on there. But to start off, he's got everything bypassed, and we're just running Elena directly through a bypass pedal board into my Fender Machete 4x12 cabinet that's being recorded with a Neumann TLM 170 microphone. And I'll probably have to do no EQing to that microphone because it's a very transparent microphone, and I think you'll find that the sound is pretty true.
Okay, so this is as pure, I guess, as those pickups in an amp will get on a clean channel, which is very nice and clear. So, all the way up. Like how even each string is sounding. That typical, one of my favorite Strat sounds. Middle position. This beautiful tone.
Yeah, I like that middle position. I found it to be a lot more useful than I was originally thinking.
I do, believe it or not, have a Strat at home, and I seldom ever use that middle position by itself. I don't know why, but that is nice. And those two getting a little bit beef or deeper.
And all of that was done with the EQ basically at the center detent.
Yeah, and you might want to, as we go along, start messing with that, because I have a tendency
Forget about it.
to forget about tone knobs. I fall in love with something like that. I don't want to stray from it.
Let's just take that neck pickup and let's go all the way the treble. Back to the bassy side.
A little bit more jazzy.
Yeah.
I like the pure sound too.
Yeah, so those are back in the center.
Nice.
Yeah. All right, so you want to...
Let me give it some ambiance.
Okay.
I think that's all it is. Okay. So, stay clean and go with the boosts or the pull.
Okay,
That
let's
one?
go to the other 5 different voices there.
Okay, so that's this pickup. Typical. That would be all three.
Yep.
It's interesting sound. If I can remember them. That would be these two in parallel.
Series.
Series.
Yeah.
Plus this one?
Nope.
Just those two.
Just those 2 in series. If you keep it in that position and basically go knob up and knob down, it's basically parallel and then series.
Okay,
So the
I
series,
see.
The series should sound more humbucker-esque.
This, don't even remember.
That's these 2 in series, so you still like have a humbucker in the bridge.
Plus
plus that in parallel.
Okay. And the middle position would just be that one.
Yep.
So that's those 2, and that's adding
Yep.
that one.
In parallel.
That's easy to remember. These 2, that one?
Just these 2
Going
in series.
backwards. These 2 in series.
So, like, it's very similar. Down, these 2 in parallel. Up, these 2 in series.
series.
2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2 in series. 2
the outer ones.
Outer ones, yep.
Which is just the neck.
Yep. Brightens it up because you're adding that bridge.
All very distinct differences.
Yep.
Good feature.
Yep, 10 different voices, basically, as I describe it. So you want to go to the boost now?
Might as well.
So we'll start in the neck.
Start in the neck, boost,
Yep.
and that's off.
Yep.
So where direction do you want to go now? 'Cause
Well,
there's so many different ones.
Yeah, I think let's demonstrate how, because again, I mentioned before that this is kind of like a brown dirt to it, but if we go the volume off and the gain all the way up, it's very clean. So that's kind of what I just wanted to show, is how the volume and the gain knobs can be used in unison to kind of make a clean boost out of it or make kind of a dirty boost. Now if we go back boost off and then maybe add a gain to your pedal board.
All right, let's do middle of the road one. Is the boost still on? No, it's not. Neck pickup by itself.
Okay.
And now boost it.
Yeah.
Big difference. Pretty drastic.
Yeah, it is. Now let's play around with this. So you can do what you want to, but I'm going to go into the neck humbucker position.
Okay.
Okay, so basically single coils in series there. I'm going to turn the boost on. I'm going to EQ it back pretty far, and then get the boost going. Maybe like a little Metallica riff or something.
Pretty quiet for a lot of gain.
Is everybody noticing how much sustain is in this thing?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get. That's all three. That's an unreasonable amount of gain.
It's really hot. If you were into the amp feedback, you could get that pretty simple.
Man,
That's pretty hot,
it's
isn't it?
on forever.
All right.
Yep. Nice guitar, beautiful finish. Love that
Yeah, thank you.
high gloss. And the fact I always love to be able to see the wood through the finish.
Swamp ash is a beautiful, beautiful wood because that grain really soaks up all that dye and it gets really dark.
And that's a solid piece of
It's one piece.
swamp ash.
Yep, one piece, so it's not laminated together this way or this way. It's just solid one piece of swamp ash. Yeah, a lot of cool things on this guitar. So Elena is a prototype of mine. I was prototyping that JFET boost control system, and that was kind of the main thing I was looking at, and I was experimenting with some magnetic pick guards and things like that on here too, which I may or may not do in production. But Elena will be available for sale as soon as I'm done kind of learning everything I can learn from this prototype, which is maybe another few weeks, maybe a month, who knows. It's about end of May right now, so so maybe in June sometime. So if you're interested in it, just shoot me an email and let me know you're interested. I do have one other gentleman from Texas that already expressed an interest in it, and I told him I would let him know after we did this demo video and when I was done doing my prototype testing. But I think this will be a beautiful guitar that somebody would get a lot of enjoyment out of. You can experiment. I find myself sitting with this guitar trying to figure out all the different voices, and I have trouble putting it down.
Yeah,
because everything
goes on
just
forever.
opens up. You combine those 10 voices with the boost, and it's just amazing how much experimentation you can do.
Well, a great thing is like a lot of guitar players, maybe it's just me, you find great tones that you like through your amp and through your thing, and it's working for you, and then one day, magically, you just don't like it anymore. You know, it's like nothing changed. It's just suddenly, I don't like this anymore. And to be able to just maybe, without messing with all your settings, to be able to just turn a few knobs on your guitar to maybe give you that extra inspiration that you've been looking for.
Yeah.
It's a neat feature. It's a great feature.
Well, that's awesome. All right, hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you got any questions. And otherwise, that'll close up this video. And thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see additional videos from Maximum Guitar Works and other guitars that we are will be demoing in the future. All right, thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
All right, take care.